Okay, I'm coming back today with part two of an article I was reviewing in the Gazette newspaper. It's by Mr. Daniel J. Gross. It just says staff writer on the paper, but Mr. Gross is the writer. Um, in this article, um, a DC officer, off-duty DC officer, was approached by two county officers. He was beat up, basically, and then charged with open container and resisting arrest. As I was talking about in the previous entry in part one, this is sad that this type of stuff keeps happening here in the county. You know, what's unique about this situation here is that you have the accounts of two sworn, or well, let me rephrase that. Both parties in this situation are sworn officers. So imagine when this goes to court, when they said it goes to court on November 14th, the criminal process of this. You're going to have sworn Prince George's police officers giving their testimony, then you're going to have a sworn Metropolitan D.C. police officer giving his testimony. So basically you have police officers testifying against each other. This is crazy. So what is the crux for the jury to believe? You have all these incidents of Prince George's County officers engaging in misconduct. You have the assistant chief, Davis, saying this happens from time to time. Well, how many, the time-to-time quote, in my opinion, was a reference that it is a rarity. But in my opinion, it's becoming commonplace because it's on the news always. As a matter of fact, in one of my previous entries, I was talking about the college student that was beaten outside the University of Maryland. The trial for those two officers involved in that just started on October 15th. I believe that was a Monday. That just started. So you have all these issues going on with the county. Now you have this officer here, this metropolitan officer, filing a civil rights lawsuit against Prince George's County. Where was the probable cause to even stop this man? They charged him with open container. Wow, I mean, that's amazing. He says he identified himself as a police officer. I mean, this is just incredible. You read this stuff and you just shake your head when you read about it. I'm just kind of speechless. I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to skip to the very end of this article. In the very end, I'm going to reread something. It says, the last paragraph, Scott Peterson, a spokesman for the Office of the County Executive, would not immediately disclose the number of open civil rights and excessive force lawsuits the county is facing, or how many the county has faced in the last 2 years. He said a Maryland Public Information Act request would have to be filed for the county to consider releasing such information. Why do we have to file Maryland Public Information Act request to get this information? We the taxpayer, are we the taxpayers not footing the bill for the misconduct of these officials? Whatever happened to that open and transparent government here in Prince George's County? I am just baffled by the sheer arrogance. There is no other way to describe this type of language. It's just arrogance. I sincerely believe they condescend. They look down on the people of Prince George's, our government, some of our government officials. You know, we're not going to tell you how many lawsuits we face. We're not going to tell you how much money we spent. Just, we're going to do what we want, and we're not going to disclose any of this information. You know, I filed a Maryland Public Information Act request before. I filed one for the Chief of Police McGaugh. So I know, you know, the government wants to release no information. And it said, let me reread that last sentence. This is Scott Peterson here. He said a Maryland Public Information Act request would have to be filed for the county to consider releasing such information. Why does the county get to consider releasing such information? This is taxpayer. These are government employees. Well, let's look at it. Let's back up from it. You have the police officers that are on the government payroll, engaged in their official duties, engaged in alleged, I'm using bunny ears with that alleged, misconduct, and then you have settlements that come or lawsuits that come. Why is that information not open to the public? Then you have people in the office of the county executive, people in the office of law for the county. All this stuff is up in Upper Marlboro. Why are these officials not opening this information up to the public? Why do we have to pay for this and there's this veil of secrecy? You know, as I review this article, you know, this is one of the few times that, you know, I just get truly lost for words. You know, I try to be an optimist, you know, to believe that our county, that Prince George's County, can do better. I try to be an optimist in the sense that these officials will see the error in their ways. But in one of my previous videos, I wrote a small paragraph and I ended it by saying basically, you know, the government tends to dig the hole deeper for themselves. You know, I'm just amazed that, you know, this type of conduct continues to happen. Or I should say, or not to sound cynical, I should say I'm just saddened that this continues to happen. You know, where's the leadership involved in this? You know, I was reading about that case that's starting with the college student that was beaten. I was reading about that case. The college student was beaten. The trial was started Monday. The federal government is looking in. The federal government launched an investigation in that case. So, depending on the outcome of that case, the U.S. Justice Department could come in and take over or do another civil rights investigation against Prince George's County Police Department. In that previous article where I reviewed from time to time, Police Chief McGaugh said he don't need federal oversight, but there was federal oversight in the previous years of Prince George's County Police Department. Now, a simple question becomes, what does it take to end these occurrences of police misconduct in Prince George's? Maybe it is time for the federal government to come in and clean house here. You know, I just don't know what else to say about this article. You know, I'm going to end my video as always. I'm very humbled. I thank you for watching, and feel free to offer your 2 cents in on it. All right, goodbye.